Hello, I'm Donald McIntyre of newfinancial.com. This is New Financial Live, and joining us is Fred Ersam, co-founder of Coinbase. Hello, Fred. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Donald. Good to speak with you again.
Good to speak to you too. Last week we spoke about Coinbase in general terms, the products and services, how you help people and merchants deal with Bitcoin, and today we're going to do the demo.
Sounds great.
Fred, what I wanted to see is how the wallet works, and then buy and sell Bitcoins, and maybe the charts. So shall we start?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just jump right into the demo. So, generally speaking, the idea around Coinbase is to make all of those things that you mentioned as easy as possible, because we sort of view Bitcoin as um, a very powerful technology underneath, but at the same time, it's not easy to interact with just as the average consumer without sort of a layer on top. So that's what we're trying to build. You can see here I have my own wallet and the history of transactions that I performed on it. It's very simple in a list form, and I thought what would be sort of helpful is just to start with a simple how do you send money to somebody?
Very good.
So Donald, I'm actually going to send you some money today.
That's great.
So I'll just send it right to your email address, as you can do with Coinbase. I think one of the really great things about Coinbase is that you can send you can send Bitcoin directly to an email address. You can obviously use a Bitcoin address as well if you need to, but this is kind of a nice abstraction for people that are just simply used to using email addresses, which I think everybody is kind of conditioned to do. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to send you $10 worth of Bitcoin. You can see it automatically. It automatically converts the amount of Bitcoin that you would need to send for you. Add a little note, and boom! I've just sent you. You can see it appear in my history there. I just sent you $10 worth of Bitcoin.
And then I am going to receive that on my email, and if I don't have a wallet, it's going to ask me to open an account on Coinbase so I can credit the money.
That's exactly right, yeah. If you already had a Coinbase account, it would just appear in your wallet. If you don't, you'll receive an email where you can just go and claim those Bitcoin, and an account will sort of automatically be created for you with the Bitcoin just sitting there.
Very good. I'm going to buy 2 Starbucks coffees with that then.
Great. Sounds good. Similarly, you can request money. I've used this a bunch of times, with my coworkers here at Coinbase. Actually, if we go out socially or whatever, to be paid back for a meal or whatever it may be. I think the next sort of basic part, does that all make sense?
Yes, and what I see here, the front page is like a bank statement with all the history of what happened in the wallet, and I can also see my balance.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it's meant to be very sort of easy to follow and read, sort of a line by line, itemized way, like you're describing.
Very good. And then within the wallet, I can buy and sell also?
That's correct, yeah. So why don't we go to that real quick? So I've already, since I obviously have a Coinbase account already, I've linked my bank account. I've got 2 of them there. And once you've done that, you can really, it's rather simple. Let's say I just want to buy 1 Bitcoin. I'll buy 10 today. I'm feeling good. Simply type in the amount. You can see the price as quoted. Simply hit buy Bitcoin. You'll get a little confirmation saying I'm going to buy 10 Bitcoin for this amount of money. And since I have a fully verified account on Coinbase, it will be a relatively instant transfer, which is an exciting new feature we rolled out just last week. So you can see that I've successfully completed my purchase, and then if I go back to my transactions page, you'll see that I have a purchase pending for 10 Bitcoin, which should confirm relatively quickly here.
The confirmations are because you have to go somewhere to do the transaction to an exchange, or is it because of this 10-minute interval of the Bitcoin network?
In this case, yeah. So on a very technical level, there is that sort of 10-minute confirmation time traditionally in the blockchain. But this should confirm more quickly than that, actually, just because it's a Bitcoin, or sorry, it's a Coinbase to Coinbase transaction, right? So even if we're sending Bitcoin across the blockchain between our accounts, we know that we're sending it from Coinbase to Coinbase, so thus it can be trusted.
Hmm.
Um, so the charts page here, I think, is just useful sort of for anybody who who is new and wants to get a feel for Bitcoin generally speaking, because obviously the price moves around pretty significantly. Um, you can sort of just get a general trajectory of where we've been over the history of Bitcoin and where we are now.
That first
Um,
that first chart that you're showing, that's the history of the price.
That's correct. And you could go to all of time if you like, and really see the full history of it. But we're obviously here at the very end at about $92 or $93 at the moment.
Hmm.
Um, and then this is just a sort of another interesting. This is actually the absolute number of Bitcoin transactions that are occurring over the Bitcoin network each day. So you can sort of see the rise in general activity over the network, which is really kind of the most important statistic, right? It's how much is Bitcoin to Bitcoin really being used.
That's gauge of volume or the amount of transactions.
This is actually the absolute number of transactions. Volume actually is probably the best absolute indicator because it really shows how many Bitcoin are flowing over. But sort of one measurement away, I guess, in that sense.
And this information is picked up by Coinbase from the Bitcoin network that generates this. There's logs with this information, or is it from services like the exchanges?
No, so we actually, as a virtue of running a hosted Bitcoin wallet, Coinbase runs its own node on the Bitcoin network. Meaning that we are one of the many sort of connected people in the Bitcoin network that sees transactions occurring, can broadcast transactions to the network, obviously on behalf of our clients, and as sort of a result of that, we naturally are connected into all this information because just by the nature of Bitcoin and how it works, all transactions are public, so you can just simply pick up this information yourself.
So you're getting this information from the original source.
That's correct.
And going back to when you showed the transactions and the buy and sell
Yeah.
part, let's go over again. If I just open a Bitcoin, I think there's 2 or 3 levels, no, of authorization or
Yeah, that's a good point.
certification. Hmm.
Yeah. So you can see I obviously, since I'm an admin, I have far higher limits
Hmm.
than the average user might be able to obtain here, as you can see in the table.
Hmm.
But you're absolutely right. You sort of start out at level one. You can see here where you're able to buy 10 Bitcoin and sell 50 a day, and there's sort of this wait time involved in that, where we wait for your money to clear with us before we pay out Bitcoin when you buy Bitcoin. Selling is obviously kind of an instant thing. You sell Bitcoin, we receive it, and then we instantly credit your bank account, and you'll get money next day, roughly.
Okay,
Um,
so the first level is for people that you don't know, and it's only the delay of 4 days when you buy. It's only because of clearance and I know your customer thing,
that's
a
exactly
credit
right.
thing, not because there's a technical inefficiency in the system or anything like that.
No, yeah, it really, you're absolutely right. I mean, it is sort of a trust-based system in a sense in the way you're describing. And you can sort of see the various steps that we use here to further verify accounts. So the very basic level one is you sign up with an email, you verify your phone number, and that's actually for consumer security just as much as it is our own verification. It's much harder for somebody, since this is money in a sense. It's much harder for people to get at your funds if you enable two-factor authentication, and it's not just a password that somebody needs to break. It's actually getting your phone and getting that second factor as well.
And when I for example, I already verified my account using my bank account, my regular bank account. So that means that you're connected to the U.S. banking system.
That's right.
Um, and once that second level that I have, what does it let me do?
Yeah, so you mean level two in terms of being verified?
Yes.
Yeah, so that really is, it does two great things for you, as you can see up here. It increases your limits in terms of buying from 10 Bitcoin a day to 50. Um, and it also lets you buy Bitcoin instantly, meaning that, normally there's this 4 business day wait. Um, it should be, same day within a number of minutes, when you're verified at level two, which is, a significant reduction in the friction and something that we're really excited to roll out.
And these levels of verification seem to be very similar to a normal bank. Um, um, does this mean that your company Coinbase, you strive to be compliant with U.S. regulations and things like that, in terms of transferring money laws and things like that within each state?
Yeah, I mean, I think we obviously see Bitcoin as this exciting new financial frontier, which is extremely efficient in nature because it's completely open and peer-to-peer. That being said, there needs to be a bridge between the traditional financial world and this new, extremely powerful digital currency world, and we're sort of serving that purpose of being that bridge between those two worlds. Thus, we sort of need to, we need to do our best to make both worlds happy, in terms of, the traditional financial world, and for our own security. We need to do some verification, but at the same time, the whole point is obviously to take advantage of the power of the virtual world.
And I also saw in my wallet that there's a section for recurring payments. Can you tell me how that works?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a pretty cool feature for a number of reasons. The most basic reason you could sort of think of, and I'll sort of create a new recurring payment to demonstrate it. Let's say, I like the idea of Bitcoin and I want to buy a few, but I don't really like having to think about, oh, when should I buy, or timing the market, et cetera, et cetera. I would sort of want to do dollar cost averaging. Um, I might go in here and set up a recurring payment where, let's say, I want to buy 1 Bitcoin, um, every week, let's say, for the foreseeable future. Um, I'll put a little note in there for myself saying that I'm going to buy some Bitcoin starting now, and I'm doing it because I want a dollar cost average into buying some. Simply authorize Coinbase to make this recurring payment, and now I'm simply set up to buy 1 Bitcoin a week.
I think this is brilliant because as a stockbroker, I used to tell my clients to do this to dollar cost average for stocks, and I used
Mm-hmm.
to set up savings plans and investment plans like exactly like this. So I see that you're not only bridging the gap between the traditional financial system and the Bitcoin system, but also between Bitcoin, that is seen as something relatively sophisticated, and mainstream consumers,
Right.
because this is a very easy service and something that everybody understands.
That's certainly the idea, yeah. I think the really powerful thing about this, and I think this will become more apparent once a merchant or two, and we'll get to the merchant tools in just a second here, but once a merchant or two integrates it, is recurring payments. When you think about, what your bills look like, generally speaking, recurring payments are everywhere. If you think about any sort of subscription service like Netflix, for example, it's a recurring payment. Um, or you think about, ride services like Uber, for example. They keep a card on file and they debit it on your behalf. These are all things that you can do with this same recurring payments framework, and I think it's a really powerful tool to allow Bitcoin merchants to use, which hasn't really been used in the wild quite yet. But when it does, I think people will really see the power in that.
And the recurring payments, in this case, you showed me how I can save in Bitcoin because I established a specific amount of purchases with a specific frequency. But when you just mentioned payments to merchants, if I have to pay, for example, $10 a month to a specific merchant because that's a subscription, I'm going to be able to do that.
That's correct. Yeah. So the idea here is, it's kind of, if you've ever used an application that connects to your Facebook account and it asks for a series of permissions, it's the same. It's the same idea. It's a system called OAuth, where effectively what would happen is the merchant would request permission to debit your Coinbase account, let's say for up to X amount of dollars a month. Let's say it's Netflix for up to $20 a month. Using our permissioning system, you would give them permission, and then they could simply debit your account with limits that you have very clearly established and said you're comfortable with. And if you ever want to cancel it, you're still in full control. As you can see here, I've actually paused one of my recurring payments. So you can do that at any time. So it sort of offers the best of both worlds. Sort of the convenience of payments and recurring payments that people are used to in the real world, with sort of the power of your own finances that people love with Bitcoin.
If I am a merchant, what do I have to do? Where can you show me how it works?
Yeah, let's jump into the merchant tools real quick. So there's sort of a large spectrum of things that you can do with our merchant tools, from very simple integrations to slightly more complex ones. So let's say you had a blog, and or a simple website, and you were selling. Let's say you were selling. I'm just going to, using this very simple tool that we have, generate a button that I can just drop right on my site in HTML.
This is when you type, the sound goes off. If I'm selling what?
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, let's say you're selling Bitcoin T-shirts on a very, very simple website. This is this is a simple button generation tool where you can simply enter the information you want. It'll generate a Coinbase button for you, and you can just plop it right on your site, straight in the HTML.
Very good. And for people that come to my site and see the button and they want to pay, they need to have a Coinbase wallet, or just with any, if you have Bitcoins anywhere, can you pay?
Yeah, if you have any Bitcoin, you can pay. And I'll show you the checkout flow in a second.
Okay.
It's a more smooth checkout flow if the consumer has a Coinbase wallet, but that's by no means required. It's completely interoperable with the entire Bitcoin world.
Very good.
So this is literally all you need. Here's the HTML that hooks into the button, the Coinbase button, and you can actually see a little preview of it here. You can see here I'd pay half a Bitcoin to myself because I just created it for a Bitcoin T-shirt, and that's something you can very easily just add to your website. I think what would be helpful is showing a real-world integration of this. So one of our first merchants to integrate our tools was Reddit, a popular, probably top 100 site in the U.S.
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and buy Reddit Gold for myself. I'm going to buy a month of it. And you can see they have Bitcoin as a checkout option. Here they've used our hosted checkout page, so it brings you to this specialized checkout page where I see I'm going to get 1 month of Reddit Gold for $4, and you can see the price is actually in dollars, but it obviously converts to the correct amount of Bitcoin for that purchase. And since I'm a Coinbase user, this is actually like a very, very seamless experience. All I would have to do is hit pay and hit OK, and I'm done. Should I not be a Coinbase user, it offers sort of the traditional Bitcoin payment method where you can either use a QR code or you can send the correct amount of Bitcoin to this specific address should you have a different Bitcoin wallet that isn't Coinbase.
Which is very easy.
Yeah.
Which is very easy. It's much better to have the Coinbase wallet so you can pay in one click.
I would agree.
But the other system is also very easy, because that was the spirit of Bitcoin in general.
Right. Yeah. No. It's a balance. You're right. It's sort of this balance between being open and making the user experience as as nice as possible. I mean, you think about paying with a credit card online too, just in terms of the ease of payment here, and it's obviously far easier to simply hit one button than to enter the 16 digits on your credit card with the security code and the expiration date and all that good stuff.
Congratulations for having Reddit as a merchant. That's huge. And
Thanks.
if I am Reddit and I want to charge, say that this evolves, that it will, and I want to charge in Bitcoin. I want to charge 1 Bitcoin or half a
Mhm.
Bitcoin for a service. Because I see that here you establish the numbers in dollars and then it gets translated by Coinbase. Can I
That's
do it the
correct.
other way around also?
Yeah, you can price things in Bitcoin as well, should you want to do that. It's sort of the popular thing to do at the moment as the general public sort of eases into the idea of Bitcoin is to price things in dollars just because that's what people are used to. But yeah, you can certainly do it the other way.
Very good. Excellent. And my last question, because now I'm interested for new financial. I already have a wallet to set up the button. Do I have to link it to my wallet? Is it already linked? Um, I am going to receive the payments in my Coinbase wallet.
That's exactly right. Yeah, you could do something just as I just did, generate a button, plop it on your site. It's automatically linked to your Coinbase account, and you can start receiving Bitcoin payments.
Very good. Bueno, this is excellent. Thank you very much for the demo. I think that you are accomplishing your objective of making it very easy and putting the services on top of the Bitcoin network so that normal people like me and merchants can use it.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Fred. Bye-bye.
Absolutely.